The
It's gonna
ghetto-ness in
be
and of itself.
the ghetto-ness of
The
dating.
hood
Like,
ratness of dating.
uh,
Dating is a hood rat. Like, she's such a hood rat.
she
Especially
is.
if you're a millennial dating, she a hood rat. She a whole hood
hmm
rat.
Welcome back, 50 Lem fam. Yes, it is Jay and D here with another episode of the 50 Lem Chronicles. What is the 50 Lem Chronicles, you might ask? Well, I'm going to let you know. Here at the 50 Lem Chronicles, we discuss everything from politics to pop culture. We represent 50 Lem voices. We detail 50 Lem experiences. We have and continue 50 Lem conversations. So welcome back to this episode of season 2 of the 50 Lem Chronicles. D, how are you,
Yeah.
love?
You're excited about it being season 2, aren't you?
I am.
You
Like, I
say
have
season
to
2
say that every
season 2.
episode. Look, you got to let the people know. We did season
I
1.
love it.
We got some things, we learned some things, and here we are,
Yes.
coming even harder.
Yes. I feel you on that.
But yes, how are you, love? You doing all right?
Hey, I'm blessed. I'll say that.
Amen.
I'm blessed. You gotta
Amen.
keep positive thoughts.
You gotta keep positive.
Just
It's what
remember
you
that
speak
you're
and what you
blessed. If
say.
nothing else, just remember you're blessed. Because you didn't
Amen.
have to wake up today. Or make it through the day. So
Or make it through. Amen. Or even wake up with the mind to take the day on.
hello.
Like, come on now. Like, so this episode is gonna be and I say this most of the time, it's gonna be an interesting episode. We are talking about dating, and especially what it's like been like for us dating, and that whole jam in and of itself.
The
It's gonna
ghetto-ness in
be
and of itself.
the ghetto-ness of
The
dating.
hood
Like,
ratness of dating.
uh,
Dating is a hood rat. Like, she's such a hood rat.
she
Especially
is.
if you're a millennial dating, she a hood rat. She a whole hood
hmm
rat.
Absolutely. And so this episode, like we said, is going to be about dating, and we're looking forward to having this chat because there's going to be some interesting things to come up for sure. So thank you so much for tuning in to another episode, the 5th episode, in fact, of the 2nd season of the 50 Love Chronicles.
That's a flavor.
What's up, y'all? Before we continue, I gotta tell y'all about Anchor. It's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. The creation tools allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor also distributes your podcast for you, so Spotify, Apple Podcast, and many more platforms have access to it. And guess what? You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's the one-stop shop for podcasts. So what are you waiting for? Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started today. Now let's get back to these hot takes. Okay, so let's get into it. Dating. And actually, before we get into it, there was something I wanted to say because I'm always trying to jump the gun. So there's something I wanted to say. We know that it's February. We know that it's Black History Month. And that is something that we will be having an episode about. We'll be talking a little bit more about it. But I think something that I wanted to get off of my chest, in particular with us as the 50 Lum Chronicles, is every day is a day of Black History Month on this podcast. Like every day. And that's what our purpose is. And that's what, we're here to do. So, I felt led by the Spirit to make sure I gave that disclaimer, because I'm sure there are some people who are like, oh, I'm so surprised y'all didn't make every episode double dose of Black People Month. And I've heard little comments here and there, and I just want to, go ahead and let it be known that our whole everything we do is about Black history. It is about highlighting the things that happen. And I think it has to be a little bit more than just a month. It has to be a lifestyle. It has to be a day-to-day appreciating and understanding where we come from, and then what we've done to even bring society to where they are as far as our achievements and accomplishments and ideas, and innovations, and the list goes on.
And where we need to go.
And where we need to go, because there's the sky's the limit, like, for sure. And you know, when they say when you hit rock bottom, there's nowhere to go but up. But but in keeping up with, you know, complicated relationships, let's get into this love chat. Let's get into this dating chat, because I know that we have similar approaches and opinions when it comes to dating. And for me, it's for the birds. Like, it is absolutely for the birds.
Hoodrats and birds are the same types of women in my eyes. Like, and dating is that.
Absolutely. Like, I'll share a little bit. I'm not good at dating. It's like not my forte. I feel like I'm good at relationships with people, because, you know, I love people. I love nurturing relationships and nurturing others, and, you know, iron sharpens iron. I look at life like that, so I know relationships are extremely important. But it's something about being a millennial, and for me being queer and dating, it's so ghetto.
It's ghetto for everybody, okay? Like, it's ghetto on both sides. It's ghetto for everybody.
And it's wild, because there's, from my from my perspective, there's so many expectations when you get into dating, and then there's so many complications to the entry of the field of dating for me. Like, you know, there's the apps, and then there's like, do you go to the certain scenes to meet the certain people, and how do you place yourself just right to come? It just that never plays out for me.
You're doing more than me, because I'm not even doing that. Okay.
Well, see, I'm not
even gonna get that out of me
anymore. Like, I tried it, and it just wasn't.
But you're more of a people. I don't really, in a general sense, I don't really like people.
Oh, I don't either.
So, like, for me, I'll let you finish.
No, like, I completely agree with that. It's like, you know, it's that weird thing, because I feel like most people have that desire for some type of companionship, or like a partner or a person in life that's like, this is who I come home and I tell them about how my day went every day, and this is like my person outside of my friends and my family. I feel like a lot of people want at least that companionship.
Yeah.
And for me,
everybody wants to be loved.
Everybody wants to be loved, and to feel loved, and to love. You know, it puts you in a very creative, you know, spiritual, like, really positive place to love others. Like, it really does. And I don't know, it's just weird, because even the organic relationships that I've had in dating, there's always just been this layer of awkward, because I'm not saying that I'm like selfish, but I really have grown to love my time, like, to myself, like, alone, away. I used to have an issue with not being around people. Like, I felt like I always had to be around people. I had to be in the know. You know, like when you have a baby who just won't go to sleep because they're afraid they're going to miss something. I felt like I always had to be around. And I got to a certain age where I was just like, I really dig being by myself at home. You know, maybe I'm writing in my journal, maybe I'm doing this, that, the other, watching a show. But it's just no longer become anything I even want to dedicate the time or the effort to. And I think it's because of the lessons I've learned from it. But like, okay, share with me some of your perspective. Like,
so for me, I've never really been like into dating, as in the sense of like, because, you know, there are people who like, they like date, like they go out on dates with multiple people. They play the field, you know, they try to see what's the T's of the T's all around. I am not that. I might not even be in the bleachers. Okay. Like, forget being on the field. I might not even be in the bleachers.
Yes,
like,
bleachers.
But yeah, so for me, like, here's the thing. I think it's extremely awkward to go to a place with somebody that I don't really know and basically go on a job interview. Like that's
Right.
that's the way I view dates. Is like you gotta go, especially like for me, like you know how people go on like dinner dates. Like I think dinner dates as a first date is so weird. Like because you have to have something to talk about. Like we're not doing anything.
Or it's gonna be
like
yeah,
it's
it's
gonna
gonna
be
be so
and you
awkward.
gotta sit across from somebody and they gotta get all up in your business, ask you all these questions, and it feels like a job interview. Like and I think it's something about the inorganicness of it that I don't like. And then two, I don't like, and I guess, you know, for some people, like even if I was to date, like when I date, it's usually like one person. And that usually just be the person that be just there for a while. And that's if I decide to even go that route. You know what I'm saying? And so for me, like the idea of even giving my energy to multiple people is just I'm not even good at texting multiple people. like one of y'all gonna get replies. I ain't replying to everybody. Listen, I
It gets
can't be
exhausting.
texting multiple different guys, and I don't have the energy to give to all of y'all. Like I really, really don't. So for me, it's like one of those situations where I usually, if I'm dating somebody, it's somebody that I was already, because if I'm not already friends with you, there's literally no chance. I ain't going nowhere with somebody I don't know. It's just not gonna happen.
It's not happening.
I'm just not that person. And I think it's fine for people who are, because there's some people who are very, you know, outgoing and they're a people person and they love all of that. And that's totally fine. Like there's nothing wrong with it. I'm just not into it. Like I'm not going nowhere with somebody I don't know when you ask me all these questions, and then in my mind I'm just thinking like, why did you all about my business? We don't even know each other. Like I don't even know you. And then what if it's not? And then I'd be thinking too, like, what if this is like a whole flop? Like, what if it's not good? And now I'm stuck on this date, and I gotta sit through this date, and I'm ready to go home. And I'm one of those people. My face is very expressive, so you're gonna know I'm ready to go.
You're
like,
gonna know. Yes.
I'm not gonna give you any energy because I don't. If I'm not passionate about it, you're not gonna get any energy. It's just not gonna. It's not gonna work. I think I'm not. I don't know how to be like inauthentic with people with stuff like that because I don't like putting like once I feel awkward and uncomfortable, I'm ready to go. I don't want to do it anymore. Like I don't want to be a part of this. I'm not gonna pretend like I want to talk to you anymore. Like it's gonna be a whole lot of me looking around, looking at my phone. Like we're both gonna hate it, and there's no point in putting both of us through this. Like if we're not already friends and we're not already cool, like it's not gonna happen. It is
That's so
not gonna
funny.
happen.
So I actually have a funny story because, well, before I tell that story, what do you consider dating? Because I know for different people, dating is different things. So like, what do you consider dating?
And even that is why I don't like it, because like the whole talking, like, oh, we talk, what does that mean?
We talk, like, what does that mean? Yeah.
Like, what does that even mean? Like, that's why it's like, if I'll give one person my energy, and it usually goes somewhere because that's where my energy is at. And I wait, like, I think that's what it is. Some people, because think about it, people go out on all these dates with like people that they're not even meant to be with, so it's not gonna go anywhere. Instead of just becoming friends with people, you could just be friends, like just getting cool with people and becoming friends with people naturally, and then naturally developing that with that person. So you ain't gotta go on all these dates. You don't have to actually. You could put these people in the friend zone and take them out. Like there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know.
I think part of it is also like the expectations. Like we talked in our last episode about like beauty standards. So I feel like there's a certain level of expectation, and I don't really consider it standards when people get really superficial, but there's a certain level of expectation that people go in with, like who that they believe they're meant to be with. And so like they feel like from what I've heard, they feel like they have to date so many people to get to find that person. Like you gotta like if it's 1 in 100, you know, you've got to go through those 100 to get your one or whatever. You get what I'm saying?
You don't have to,
but you
that's
don't.
the thing, like you don't have to date all of them. Because if you're just approaching somebody on just like a plain get to know you basis, you'll get to the point a lot quicker than dating them. Because when you go, like when you do the whole dating thing, people are going to show you what they want you to see. It's never going to be genuine and authentic, because they're showing you what they want you to see, and they're always going to show you the highlight reel of themselves. But if you just organically get to know them and there's literally no expectations and no strings on it, you'll get to the point a whole lot quicker. You really will.
Very true. Very, very true. And it's funny that you use the job interview analogy, because I think that is really a good point. It really does feel like a job interview. It's like, so where are you from? Who are you people? Like,
yeah.
What's your sign?
Yeah. And then it's like, even for me, like, I remember just coming from up north to down south, and people be, oh, hey, who your people? And stuff like even that be like, maybe that's what it is. It could be a regional thing too, of like,
it could be.
But there are people up north who love dating. So I don't know. It's just me. It's me. I am socially awkward.
And there's nothing wrong with that. There, like, at all.
I don't like forcing inorganic relationships with people. I just don't. I really don't. If it's not natural, if it's not organic, and we not cool, and we didn't already like vibe and hit it off, it's not gonna happen. I am not gonna try it. I'm not going through the hundreds. I'm not doing it.
So for me, like, dating is, I consider it dating when you have gone out with somebody, or when you have made a plan to meet at a particular place and do something to get to know each other better, to see if this is going somewhere. That's what I consider like dating. That's when, like, and when you've done it more than once with the same person, I consider that dating that person. Like, you can go on a date with somebody, that's not dating them. But I feel like once you hit 2-3 days, okay, now you're dating. So when I lived in Atlanta those couple of years, I already hated dating, and I knew that the pool from where I was to where I went was a lot larger. There's so many more people to choose from. There's so much more diverse. And I just still was like, I'm not having it. Like, I'm not with it. But eventually I met somebody and I went on a date, and it was like a cool date. This person was Guatemalan, so a very different culture. I got to learn some different things. We got to use a little Spanish. We got to chat it up, and it's interesting because I was thinking about what you were saying about how, like, when you go through an awkward date and there's that moment where you're just over it and you're just like, look, we got it. Like, I
really want to go.
It's funny because I consider myself pretty, my mom always says I say things the most diplomatic way.
Yeah, so you're good at hiding stuff like that.
I try to be very strategic with my words, and I try and, like, but I remember I was dating this Guatemalan, and all of our dates had been like really good. Like, they were all dinner dates, and they had been really good dates. Like, we went to Vortex in Atlanta, ate, had a couple shots, so much fun, great time. And the second time we went to like this Guatemalan fried chicken joint, which I didn't know there was one. But it was so good. I was like, oh, I've never had Guatemalan fried chicken. Like, this is so good. It was great. Loved that. And then the third date, they had a new apartment, and they were like getting their internet set up, and they asked me to help with like some furniture and stuff. And I was like, sure, I'm off this day. Yeah, I can help. And we were going to have a movie night. And so I had brought all of like the movie night accessories. I mean, I had tons of DVDs. I had the popcorn and the popcorn flavors and the little Debbie cakes and like all the little snacks and accoutrements. Like, I had it all ready. I was like, this is going to be fun. And this was at the time when my car wasn't working in Atlanta. So I had gotten a ride over there. I will never.
That's already this. Like,
that was like,
because you can't just get up and go.
No, but okay. So we started having this conversation about politics, and I always try not to have conversations with the majority of people, even family, about politics if it's not necessary. Like, if you're saying something completely ignorant and I feel like I have to jump in and just be like, look, hang on, like, this is what you're saying, and this is maybe, what we should be discussing in reference to what you're saying. But I usually try not to have conversations about politics, especially not on dates, at work, certain social settings, Well, they bring up something about Obama being the worst president this country's ever had. And I just remember being like, hey, like, maybe we shouldn't talk politics. Like, knowing
Right. Like let's not
I
go
had
there.
voted for, like, I voted for Obama. Like, I
The
definitely don't
worst
think he's the worst president we've
ever.
ever had. I would not even, what? So I was like, yeah. And then, like, they just kept going, kept going. Oh, this and that and the other. And I was like, yeah, like, maybe let's talk about something else. Like, what movie are we going to watch? Like, you want to pop popcorn? I can pop popcorn. Like, what are we going to do? Kept on going. That third time Obama was called trash or whatever, I was like, look, get your keys. I'm grabbing my bag. This is done. I'm leaving. And I know that you have to take me. So you might as well just go ahead and crank up the car. There's no discussion. Like, what are we going to talk about? At this point, you pissed me off. So it's time for me to go.
Yeah.
And it was just that easy. But I remember it being so quiet because
I was going to say it's the ride though. The
ride was quiet, and I was just thinking to myself, like, I wanted to go off like a black mom in the car when they told us not to touch something in the store, and how we just get grilled and chewed out all the way home. I wanted to go off like, if you had just not said anything, we wouldn't be in this predicament. We could have been watching a movie right now. We could have some hot popcorn with a little butter on it. Like, I just really wanted to be going off in that moment, but I didn't. And
see, that's why I only date my friends.
And that's a good point. Like, but
if we're friends, I did already probably didn't heard that, and I could decide whether or not you're somebody I want to be around.
Yeah. It's interesting because for me, I feel like when you have to, there are those things, like those touchy subjects to a certain degree, you have to discuss with somebody, especially if you're interested in things.
If you're going to date them, y'all got to be on the same page, because we're black.
Strictly.
Like, just off the fact that I'm black, we got to be on the same page. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I am not finna be Sue Ann, who husband voted for the other guy. Okay, but yet I'm coming around these black women talking about, I'm so sorry, I can't believe it. No, because your husband voted for him. Like, I won't be Sue Ann. Sure won't.
This is true.
Can't afford to.
And it was so interesting because when I knew we were having this dating conversation, and having watched Bridgerton, I think was kind of perfect because it was, a series about dating, essentially a dating courtship, very ancient, but it was dating and courtship.
Ancient misogyny going on.
Come on now. But it's interesting because there are still some of those same parallels, still in like our current society. Like, it even goes back to what I was saying a moment ago about those expectations of like what the other person should be or what they should be bringing to the table.
Right.
So do you feel, that brings me to a question, do you feel that sometimes people's expectations or personal standards keep them from having a successful dating life?
Yes and no. I think it kind of depends, because it's very important to set boundaries and be clear on the type of relationship that you want to be in, because no matter how much society tries to shove it down our throat, there's not one way to be in a relationship. Everybody's relationship and dynamics, people want different things, people need different things. So I think if it's coming from that place, a place of like really growing and understanding yourself, and okay, I have these certain boundaries, I need these certain things, this may trigger me, so I can't deal with somebody that's like this. Like, it's important to know those things. Now, if you doing some superficial type, like, oh, he gotta have this kind of car, he got it, like, that's when it's like, okay, girl, like, that's why you in these toxic trash relationships, because all you worried about is what he driving and how much money is in his bank account instead of reading up your bank account. They always leave broke too, for some reason.
Right.
Broke with an expensive bag. But I think, to an extent, yes, it's very important to be clear and know what it is that you want and what you need. You know what I'm saying? Because if you're going to, I remember when the first time I saw 50 Shades of Grey, and I thought that contract was the smartest. And the first thing I said was, everybody should do this. Everybody should have a contract and be like, this is what I'm into, this is what I'm not into, these are my boundaries, this is what I want, this is what I don't want. And it'll be so much easier to find somebody that's on the same page as you.
That's very true.
Like, I thought that contract was the dopest thing I had ever seen. I'm like, I need me one of those.
Ooh, that's a great idea.
Like, I
Like a
remember when I
dating
saw that and I
contract. I
thought that that
never
was
thought
so,
about
because I
that.
never read the book. So when I saw the movie and I was like, that is the dopest idea of it.
Well, see,
It would
I
save
read
so
the
much
book,
time.
but that is like I never thought about taking the contract that they used in their, submissive dominant relationship, but
Yeah.
actually using that in a relation, like an actual
Because it's
well, I don't know how
communication.
to
It's a form of
a different type.
communication.
Yeah.
And when you're in the
Wow.
type of what they had going on, communication is very key because I need to know where your line is. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? And
What your
so,
boundaries are, yeah.
right. And so if we all went, for one, it'll let us all know what it is. Because a lot of people don't even take the time to figure out what it is that they need or want and what works for them and
Good
what doesn't. You know
point.
what I'm
Very
saying? So
true.
it starts
Mm-hmm.
with that. And if you were writing it down, you'd have a better understanding of it and you could walk into a situation clear. And then
No
that
way. Mm-hmm.
person would have a better understanding of it and they'll know if that's something they down with or not.
Oh, so maybe that's like some homework for the 50 fam. Those of you out there who are single and ready to mingle, before
Yes.
you mingle, write up your own contract. Like, what are your
Yes.
expectations? What are your non-negotiables? What are the things that you have to bring to the table that are going to make you comfortable, and that they need to bring to the table that are going to make you comfortable as
So
well?
what are your
And
expectations?
me,
Yeah.
child, that's a whole episode. Let me stop.
It's an episode.
It's a whole nother episode. Whoa.
The
That
abridged
is
version.
the abridged version. For me, I'm at a point now where the list has actually gotten much smaller than it used to be. And so it's not even very specific, but there are some things on it. So in particular, because I'm a creative and I live the life of a creative, and only creatives will understand that. Like, that's not something I can really explain, but only creatives will understand that the ebbs and flows of that creative energy, like, it's just something that can't be explained. Like, almost have to be in a relationship with another creative, because it has to be someone who is at least open-minded enough to understand the ebbs and flow of the energy. And like, when I'm in a creative moment, how I have to be in that moment, in that space, to get, my mission accomplished, so to speak. Honesty, of course, transparency, patience, because I'm a handful, and I can be a headache. And that's just me being honest, keeping it 100.
Come on. So let me ask you a question. Because I know like spirituality is something that we both connect on.
Absolutely.
And being that you come from a more religious background, would you want to be with somebody that's more religious or more spiritual, or do you feel like because you kind of have both, you could deal with both?
I think for me, someone super religious might be a problem, because I think to a certain degree it would trigger some of my discomfort with religion. Because to me, and my family knows this, and I've said this to multiple people in my family, but I have a distaste towards strict religious practice, because I feel that when you get super religious, you lose spirituality in maintaining religion. So in maintaining religion, I feel like you can lose spirituality and you lose the purpose. Like, it shouldn't be religion, it should be relationship, and I'll leave it at that. And so for me, I always say, like, I've been saying that for a little while now, but I always, like, I feel like a lot of people, regardless of what organized religion they practice, a lot of them get so caught up in the rituals, the rules, and the traditions that they miss the relationship. And that's what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be more spiritual than anything else. That's why the spirit exists in every religion. Like, that's what it's supposed to be, spiritual. The rules came by man, the spirit came by God.
Hello. This
This
is why we be
here.
right
here. Yes. Right here. So, for me, I would have to be with someone who understands that, and who appreciates that. And it's like, yeah. And when we, and is able to, even, because when we get into the spiritual, for me, being someone who's empathic, who sees and hears, and is able to tap into the spirit realm in a different way that I can't necessarily control, I need someone who's not freaked out by that. Like, when I say certain things to you, you need to be able to be like, oh, okay, and move with it versus being afraid. Because I've had people I've said things to, and not just relationship wise as far as romantic relationships, but even working or professional or personal relationships with others, just saying something that I feel or that I know or that I've seen. And when it happens, they'd be like, hang on, I don't know if I should be scared or no, like everything is not a demon. Calm down. Like,
right.
But yeah, that was a really good question, because that is a point. It has to be someone who is spiritual, to the, like, matching me, if not even more spiritual than I
am. I feel that. Anything else on
so
your list, or that's your list?
Well, I mean, the list continues to
go.
Like,
we know you got a long
but another right. It's not super long. It really isn't. Like I said, it's gotten shorter, but a big one would be like ambition. I am extremely ambitious. There's so many things I want to get accomplished in my lifetime, and I would like to be with someone who is ambitious as well, who has their own set of goals and aspirations and dreams and things that they want to accomplish, and a plan on how to get there. Not just we need to both be more than just dreamers. We both need to be doers as well. So yeah, I want someone who's action and solution oriented. And yes, and grounding would be nice.
Oh yeah.
Because I can get up there. I can get up there, and to have an energy to come to that brings me back would be nice. But that really sums up the majority of my list. Like, of course, the things like
there are little tedious things,
respectful, like those things that goes without
understood. Saying. The understood.
Yes, the understoods. Yes, the
gotcha.
understoods. How about you? Like, what are some of your big non-negotiables that aren't understood?
So for me, actually, going through my last situation, it really, I'm grateful for it to a sense, because not only because of Lori, but also it taught me a whole lot. And there are a lot of things about myself that I didn't realize, because like I've dated, but I never let anybody in on that level like I let him in. You know what I'm saying? So that for me was like a leap of faith, but it was also very much something that I don't normally do. Like, there are not many people that I really just let, because you're like one of very, very few people. I think you're probably the only person that I literally talk to about everything. Like everything. Because I feel like I can come to you about anything. And not to say that like my other best friends wouldn't understand, but I feel like we connect on like a different level.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so for me, like whenever stuff be going, I'm like, I know that I could go to Jay and tell Jay this. You know what I mean? And you present like this safe space. So I don't know. But let me not get down there.
But no, like, let me say ditto, because I feel the exact same way. Like, I'm blessed to have a collection of really good best friends, like in the three of y'all, but they're just we all have different types of relationships.
We have different types of relationships.
We have different types of relationships,
and for me,
I feel like the same way.
Ours is more spiritual. I think we connected on that level more, at least for me, because I don't know anybody who actually thought the way that I thought when it comes to all of that. Like, we literally were agreeing about everything the first time we had these conversations. It was like, that's how I feel. And so for so long, I thought I was the crazy one. I'm like, why? No. I went on this long journey. You had my binder, so you saw the journey that I went on, and I really studied every religion and was trying to really figure it all out. And so, like, for us to, I'm like, I'm not crazy. Somebody gets it. But yeah, so for me, like, it has to be somebody, again, too, that's going to understand where I am with that whole spirituality and all that. It's something that's very, very important to me. And it's become even more important now than it, even though, yes, I had a whole binder and everything, and I was super into it then, but it's so much more important to me now because I feel like I finally clicked and tapped in. I wasn't tapped in. I was searching and learning before. Yes. And I think I've tapped in and I'm loving it.
Yes, tap in.
And so that's super important. And then, because I don't want you to get scared when I pull these crystals out, because they coming out.
Hello. Period.
when I'm sitting under the moon, it's just gonna happen.
It's just gonna.
I might just go outside and
my
just
room
be
now.
sitting.
Hello.
You know? And then I need somebody that's gonna understand. Like I am very much a Cancer. Like I am very, very much that crab in the shell. Like, and I'll pop out, you know, but the first sign of something getting rocky, I'm popping back in. You know, say that shell is hard, you know, a crab shell is hard. So I need somebody that's gonna understand that, like, sometimes I'm gonna need to go in that shell and like I need my space. I need to ground myself. I need to get leveled or whatever needs to be taking place, you know what I'm saying, and really just center myself. Like I always need my alone time every day. And like my showers are usually like, showers are super important to me, so my showers are usually that time, but I need somebody that's going to understand that, like, if I had to be super social today, you know, I want to be in your space, but I don't want to talk. You know what I'm saying? With that other person, he had to stop asking me what's up, because I would just like be standing super close to him, but I wouldn't say anything. I just would walk up, but I wouldn't say anything. It's like, I don't want to talk to you. I just wanted to be in your energy. You know, I just want to be in your space.
Ugh, I love that.
And so I need somebody that's going to understand and not, you know, because he got to the point where he just didn't, if I ain't say nothing, he just didn't say nothing because he knew I didn't want nothing. You know what I'm saying? And so I need somebody that's going to understand that, those nuances and those mood swings, because I be having the mood swings. All I need is a little blunt though, and I'll be all right.
Yes. Get you right together.
Okay. I dealt with some of my daddy issues following that relationship, because I realized, like, a lot of times when we are in relationships and we're not the reason that things blew up necessarily, or like the cause of the breakup, we tend to put the blame mostly on the person that caused it, not realizing that along the way there were certain things that we had to be accountable for as well, because it didn't just come out of nowhere. You know, if you're in an abusive relationship, yes, the abuser is the wrong person. Not to say that I was. This is an example. I don't want to start no rumors, but the abuser, because you know me, ain't nobody. I wish they would. You will get shot, stabbed, or tased, okay, depending on the day. But you have to, like, the abuser is like the person that's wrong, but also you have to ask yourself, what about me allowed me to remain in this space?
Yes.
What am I missing within myself? What within me am I not, you know, working on, where I'm allowing myself to even be in this space, this person? You know what I'm saying? So, like, for me, there were certain things about me, like, I noticed, I realized that I could be emotionally manipulative. I never knew that. But I never did it like in an intentional way. It was more so of like, he could be very nonchalant. So it would be like, I know if I say this, that's going to get an emotion out of him and get a reaction out of him. You know what I'm saying? And I could start the conversation that I want to have, you know what I mean? Or something like that. And I didn't realize that that's what I was doing.
Yeah.
Because I'm already a very, very expressive person. You know what I'm saying? I have big energy, a lot of energy. You know what I'm saying? So
very
you feel it.
Very
but
true.
I never realized, because I didn't even know that was a thing. And I never realized that that's what I was doing. So even though I wasn't,
insightful.
Like I could be honest and own, you know, and I think that's the biggest thing about being able to move forward and not deal with the same karmic relationships over and over again. You have to address yourself. I learned too that, like, a lot of times when we're in like toxic relationships, that person is usually a reflection of our shadow self. And it's usually our shadow self saying, hey, you need, this is some areas you need to be working on.
You need to be working
issues
on,
we got going on, and you giving all this out here and you ain't taking care of you. You ain't filling your cup up.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
You better be preaching, D.
Listen, I be for real when I be saying like I am not somebody that I'm not perfect, and I know that like it's easy to feel like I'm perfect because I'm such a nurturing, giving person. So I'll be like, dang, why they gonna do me like that? Not to say perfect, but more so not wrong. Cause it's like, dang, how you gonna do me like that? Even with the friend. It's like, dang, how you gonna do me like that? But then I'm like, why am I even allowing myself to be friends with people like this? Why am I allowing myself to be in this space?
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And it was because it was things about me that I needed to work on. And I wasn't addressing those things. I wasn't loving on myself. And I think that's super important to have somebody that understands that, like, yes, we're in a relationship, but I still need time for me to love on me. Because you can't find happiness with somebody else. You have to already have it in yourself.
Yes, your happiness cannot be found.
Which was another thing that I learned because I'm a fixer. I like to fix people. I attract these broken people because I want to fix them.
I'm a fixer too,
I need some. Yeah. Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
We be trying to fix people. But from that, I learned I need to be with somebody who is already grounded and stable within themselves. And they understand themselves and they know how to express themselves. Because I'm a very expressive person. You need to be able to communicate and express yourself, which was the main issue in my previous relationship. It was a very old school toxic mess. He was taught very toxic masculinity of like, I'm the man, I'm protect, provide, I'm not supposed to have no emotions, like it's not about me, I'm the foundation, I'm supposed to be solid. And it's like, eventually, if you ain't take care of the foundation, it's gonna crumble.
It's going to crumble. And so will the rest of the house. Yes.
You know? Like, and
the walls came tumbling down.
Yeah, and a big part of a relationship that's super important is vulnerability. And if you're not willing to share your emotions, you can't be vulnerable. And people don't talk about how important vulnerability is in a relationship.
Yes, you know that's one of my soapboxes right there. I love talking about vulnerability.
You cannot truly give love if you're not being vulnerable. You cannot. It's not gonna work. And then I also learned that I learned about me, and I think learning about me kind of I was able to pinpoint where the daddy issues that I didn't realize I had, because I don't really even think about him. Like, he don't cross my mind. It's not like, so I didn't even realize I still had some, because I'm like, I don't even because I didn't care anymore. But it's like certain stuff that I didn't deal with. And now I have to make sure that I'm with certain types of people that nurture that, and that I'm able to make sure that I'm in a safe space to be me. You know?
Yeah.
I wish I had like a different type of list, but my list was so profound because I've been working on it.
Yes, that's good stuff.
It was on like a different type. I ain't mean to go deep like that, but
no, that's perfect. That's perfect. That actually brings us to our break. So when we come back from this break, I'm going to share some of the things that I've learned from dating, and we're just going to continue this dating conversation. So again, thank you guys so much for tuning into this episode. Hope you're enjoying it so far. We'll see you right after this break here at the 5011 Chronicles. So yes, like you really were getting into like that was nice and deep. Like
But it's why it's hard for me to date though, because once you get to a certain place, you don't deal with that other crap no more. You don't even have the patience for anything that's less. You know, because you know it's less. You know what I mean? And I used to be so big on not being judgmental and not trying to judge other people off their mistakes and stuff like that. But it's like sometimes you got to. Like, it sounds bad, but sometimes you got to. Sometimes you have to have a little bit of judgment in order to have discernment. You know what I mean? Otherwise, you're going to allow a lot of toxic people into your space. And I tend to give people, because I don't let people in, when I actually do, I give them the benefit of the doubt, because it's like, it was hard enough for me to even let you up in here, so I'm trying to let you stay.
Look.
Right? Like, I'm trying to listen. You better get it together. I'm trying to let you stay because I don't really do this very often,
mm-hmm.
and I don't feel like doing it again.
Exactly. No, I completely
But
agree.
I had to learn to be okay with just letting people go. It's easy for me to do it with like people that's like whatever, but the people that I really care about and really let in, it's hard for me to let them go because of abandonment issues that I have. So I had to learn to just cut it. You got to cut it. You can't, because I'm keeping you around for what? And then once they life start manifesting in your life and all that toxicity start manifesting in your life, and now you sitting around looking stupid because you the one got to sit and deal with it. Child, I don't have time no more. I don't have time no more.
For me, I also had some of those abandonment type issues when it came to like, and I think it took some reflecting to realize it had to do with my biological mom. And I just made a habit of anytime a relationship wasn't going well, I had to be the one to end it. Like I had to end it because that was something I could control. Like I had to take control and be like, no, I ended this. This isn't healthy for me. I have to, chuck the deuces and get out of here. And I went through a whole phase in my life where it was like, there were situations where I felt because I was, and a lot of it was like a defense mechanism, where it was almost subconscious, where I felt the need, because even there was a job that I started to hate this job because it felt like false advertising. And I just remember like a moment where that supervisor talked to another supervisor of mine, because I was in college, and she was like, yeah, he's really not enjoying it. I just don't think it's going to be a good fit for him. And that supervisor came and told me, and she said, look, I think they're going to try and get rid of you. And it was like that defense mechanism just shot up. I wrote that letter of resignation that day and delivered it the next day. And I was like, I just feel that it is in my best interest to look for, and I mean, like, she was shook. She was like, oh my gosh, I was not expecting this. And I was like, yes, you are.
It's because you wanted to be the one to do it.
You wanted to be the one to do it. So yeah. But I mean, that was how I approached relationships for a minute. And for me, I think what I had to realize and learn about myself was I was extremely naive when I started dating. And there was a reason that I did not start dating until I was 18. It's because I was absolutely not ready. Like, same. At all.
I ain't gonna lie. I don't even think it was that I was like I had a player mindset when I was in high school. Like, I was like, I am not feeling, these little boys can't do nothing for me. Like, I would flirt with this person, talk to this person for a little bit till I get tired of them, and on to the next. Like, I had very much that means I ain't taking nobody serious.
I just wasn't player mentality. I was so oblivious, and just so naive. Like, and I don't even know why, because it wasn't like information wasn't there. Like, people hadn't talked to me about life and the birds and the bees and everything. But it was just like, I was just unbothered. And then, then when I started dating, it was just, everything was a train wreck. It was a hot mess. And I think part of it was also because I hadn't had any examples of what dating should look like, because everyone around me was married. Like, I was surrounded by like parents, godparents, aunts, uncles. They were all married couples. And for the most part, like, there were a couple of single people, but like, they weren't telling me about what dating was like. Like, they probably had 10, 15 years on me. So it wasn't even like we were in the same situation, same venues. So when I started dating, I had no clue what was going on. And I went into it so naive.
Very green. You probably been just thinking like, oh, it's going to be love and rainbows. We're going to get married.
Gonna be amazing. Like, first relationship, I'm going to get married. And it was just garbage. All of it was garbage. A lot of it was me realizing that I still had a lot of self-work to do. Because I would look back on the relationships and be like, dang, that was dumb. Like, ooh, that was some stupid, like, I was doing some real stupid stuff. Like,
you always look back and be like, why would you, you're an idiot. Like, you be yelling at yourself, like, you're an idiot.
So dumb. I mean, like, the level of dumb, it was just really, you could tell I was extremely green, because I was just giving my all to people who it was either not reciprocated,
same.
or they didn't know how to love back,
on that same
or
level. Yeah,
they weren't, like they were using me to get what they needed to move on. Like I had somebody use me for a whole job, like use me, got a job, and then left me to get me fired, to get somebody else to get my job. It was ridiculous. Like, yes, oh yes, it was scandalous. It was scandalous. But I got the last laugh, but we'll let that go. But it was, I mean, like, I looked back on it, and another lesson I learned was I had to be very careful who I let into my relationship. And because it's, sometimes you need to vent. Sometimes you need someone you can talk to help you through your relationship woes and dealing with different personalities and different people. But you got to be very careful about who
you got to find
to.
that one
You got to find that
person.
one person,
yes,
right, who you can go to. And I made the mistake. I can remember very vividly this one time I was talking to somebody, and I went to someone who I thought I could trust, and I was just letting them know what was going on and trying to get some advice. And they gave me some advice, and I was going to, try it. And next thing I know, they're coming to me telling me, oh yeah, I called so-and-so up, and we were on the phone talking, and they said this, that, and the other. And I started thinking, how did you get so-and-so's number? Why did you call so-and-so up? Like, I started thinking, like, what? That didn't make sense. So then so-and-so come to me and say, hey, like, you need to get your friend. And then out of nowhere, I realized, oh, okay, so I see what is going on here.
Wow.
Right. So for me, it took rookie mistakes like that to learn who I could go to and be like, hey, this is what I'm, facing. Can you give me some advice? Or, hey, I need to vent. Can you just be a soundboard real quick?
Yeah.
Like I had to know who those safe spaces were. And sometimes that's the toughest part about being in a relationship, is being able to deal with and cope with the mess in the relationship. And having a way to filter out, because even for me, I had an issue compartmentalizing. I would take my frustrations from work and from class to the relationship, and vice versa. Like that it would just be a whole, what was that? The snake eating itself, the Ouroboros. It'd be a whole Ouroboros of just like negativity and drama, and there was no compartmentalization to keep myself and my mind safe and protected. And that's something that's so important, is that when you are in, or even trying to feed a relationship to make it healthy, you have to compartmentalize. You have to be able to not take it out, your frustrations from work or your frustrations from family or from friends or from others that has nothing to do with the relationship into it. And I had an issue with that. I can admit that and say there were some times I'd pop off. Like I'd be like, beep, 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 beep. Like you're getting told off because I had a bad day. And as I've gotten older, a lesson I've learned is, because now I have to say it to myself and to the people that I manage, is, like sometimes everything is not, you can't take it personally, and you can't carry it with you. Like what happens here has to stay here, because when you go back to the people that you live with, you can't throw that day on them. Like you can't. And even learning like the language of asking people, do they have the mental capacity to take on, the weight and the frustration you're going through? That was something else I had to learn through some of the failed relationships and failed dating I had, was being able to realize when the people I trusted were in a space to be able to take on additional weight. So yeah,
and we're opposites in that sense. One, I think, is because I didn't grow up with a lot of positive examples of relationships. Like I saw some, like I had like a few of my friends that I was really close with growing up, like their parents were married and I loved their relationships. Like it was always cool going over their houses and stuff. But in like I've seen a lot of toxic relationships, a lot of abusive relationships, physically and verbally and emotionally. Like I've seen a lot of toxic representations. And also having daddy issues as a girl, like, which affects my dating life as well, whether we, like to admit it or not, it is going to affect it.
Yeah.
For me, I went into it with a very detached mindset because I didn't have, and then it was like, because it's like, on the one hand, I'm a very loving person to the people that I care about. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But my emotions are very, very black and white. I'm a beast at compartmentalizing. Like, I am the queen of compartmentalizing. You know what I'm saying?
True.
Like, and my emotions are very, like, I can always tell you how I feel because I always know exactly how I feel. You know what I'm saying? So for me, it was very much easy for me to, despite me being a loving person, and of course we all want love deep down, like we all want that, but I was able to compartmentalize that and just be on some I don't take none of this serious type thing.
Yeah.
I was very much like, ain't none of this going nowhere. Like, that was very much like, when I was in high school, I was not that girl that was about to be in no relationship. I'm not, because I was like, I'm not finna, my whole world is not about to be about no relationship, and I'm making decisions based off of this, and we young, like, this ain't going nowhere. Like, that was very much my mindset. Like, very much didn't care, wasn't seeing it for it. I was on some let's have fun, on some player type time. Like, I was not
player.
on nobody's type of commitment time. That was not my cup of tea. I was not trying to be in no relationship. And then I think college, I was more open to it, but it still wasn't like I was pressed behind it. If that makes sense. Like, I ain't really, if it do, it do. If it don't, it don't. I'm having fun. I'm just living life. Whatever.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm like, in that time of my life, I'm like, I'm about to go be an actress anyway. I ain't really.
Hello.
I'm about to go. Okay. I'm going to be on another coast.
I did a decent bit of dating in college. Like, I did a
little bit, but I didn't take it serious.
I mean, I tried to take it serious. I really did. I mean, I tried, and I just wasn't good at it. Like,
But you went into it with a mindset thinking that you were about to get in a relationship that was going to be forever.
Also like,
and I didn't come from that mindset.
I'm a hopeless romantic, so it's something that's just programmed in me. Like, I love a good rom-com.
I am, but I compartmentalized it very early.
Oh yeah, I can't shut it. I can't shut mine off. Like, it's bad. I'll watch a little romantic movie and just be wanting to tear up. Like, I just be in my feels. And that's how, like, I always wanted.
I know how to shut off my emotions. That's why I'm able. Like, I know how to. I'm very good, and this is not a good thing, but it's a bad thing. Preface that this is a toxic trait of mine. I know how to shut down. I know how to shut it all the way down, and I will literally go. And my mom used to hate this, especially when I was like a teenager. That's when it really got bad, where it's like, I know how to just not care no more. I know how to completely shut it all the way down. Just, I don't even care. Like, forget it. Like, once my feelings would get hurt, it would just be like, you know what? I don't even care. Y'all got it. Like, and I know you probably saw that even at Applebee's when stuff would get, and I'd be like, you know what? Y'all got it. I would shut all of it. Y'all got it. I don't even care.
I tried talking to you a couple times. I'm like, no, she's not having it. That's done.
Don't even care anymore. And I think that's why it's different. Like, I'm very, very good at that.
I wish I had a little bit more of that during that time in my life, because I've never been like, now I can control my emotions a lot better. Not to the point where I shut them off, but I can.
That's
can
the
control
thing.
them
When they were on,
better.
I didn't have much control over. Not necessarily control over my emotions, but I know how to shut them up. I have control over that part of it. When it's on, ain't no telling what you're gonna get.
Yeah.
Okay. But once they off, they off.
90% of the time I'm in my feels. Like, it's not even a question. I'm just, and it's interesting because I know earlier you were sharing that you're a Cancer. Well, I'm an Aries. I am and most people don't instantly pick up on the fact that I'm an Aries until you know me. Like, if you know me, you know I'm an Aries. But if you don't know me that well, sometimes people mistake me with other signs. And I'm just like, no, you're not. You're not.
What's
even
your
in the
moon?
ballpark.
Do you know your moon?
I believe my moon is Gemini.
Oh, that's an interesting mix.
Isn't it interesting?
Yeah.
I'm crazy.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I've been
Do you
telling
know
you for
your
years I'm
rising?
crazy. My rising is oh goodness. Let me see if I can remember. I have it written down. I'll let you. I'll find it. I'll find it. I can't remember what my rising is off the top of my head.
My
Because
sun is in Cancer, my moon is in Libra, and my rising is Scorpio.
my rising might be no. My midheaven's Libra. Is that my rising? No, I don't think so. My midheaven's Libra. I know that.
Your rising is
But
your ascendant.
yeah, I can't remember. That's what I can't remember what my ascendant is. Um, yeah, it'll come to me, but it's it's interesting because Aries tend to be really passionate. So that's something I
Gemini too.
definitely, yes. So I can get a double dose there, and and I think my ruling house is Venus, if I'm not mistaken. So then there's another layer of that as
Of
well,
love.
of love. So I'm like an absolute 100% hopeless romantic, and that has very seldomly has that helped me in relationships. Like
Same.
in fact, it has typically damaged my relationship because of my idealistic approach and this whole like, oh, everything should be like this. It's got to be a movie. It's got to be. And so that's something that years of failed relationships and even years of like, I've been single like 6 years now. So even years of singleness have taught me a lot about myself. And that was something that I had to realize is like, okay, Jay, when you approach your next relationship, that hopeless romantic edge that you have, it can exist, but it cannot run the show. Like it can't run the show. It can be in the back. It can,
because
be
we all
happy
want a
when
movie, but that ain't
we
life.
all want that, but that's not life.
It's
You're right.
not life.
It's not realistic.
No, I 100% feel that.
But another big lesson I learned, and I think part of it was my naivete going into relationships. I couldn't realize it in that moment. But people make time for the things that are important to them.
Very
So
that. Ooh, very
someone will
that.
make time for you if you are important to them. And I wasn't realizing that at the time. I wasn't seeing how unimportant I was to others. I wasn't viewing it that way. But now that I'm older and, wiser and stronger and better, here I am looking at it a little bit different and being like, okay, yeah. So if you don't have the time to have this conversation, you probably don't have the time to have this relationship. So,
now.
like
people
there
put their effort where they want to.
You'll put your effort where you want to. And so I think that was something really important for me to learn. And for everybody to learn, going into a relationship is if someone is not willing to give you the time and the energy and the effort and all of them while they're there, being present in that moment, don't do that to yourself. You're worth more than that.
And I also want to shake the table a little teeny bit. And one of the most important things that neither one of us have mentioned, and a lot of people don't mention because we're taught that it's not the most important thing in a relationship, but intimacy is very, very, very intimacy to me might be one of the most important things in a relationship because it's the difference. Intimacy would be the difference between me and you and the person I'm dating because you're my best friend. I can come to you and tell you everything. We love each other and all of that where there's no intimacy. So we're best friends. If there was intimacy, it'd be somebody that I'm dating.
Right.
And intimacy is one of the most important. And people, I think we're taught that it's like this bad thing or like, it's, whatever, this like taboo thing. But it's like, it matters. It very much matters. And intimacy because is a broad range of things too.
It is a broad range. Because there is that, familial friendship level of intimacy. And then there's that romantic intimacy that you're speaking of. And I agree. Like there has to be chemistry. There has to be, the level of passion has to be there. Like it has to be there because if
they have to speak your love language.
They have to speak the love languages have to line up. Like they have to line up.
Because if you somebody who are words of affirmation and I'm acts, we ain't gonna work because I don't care what you're saying. I'm like I am not a words of affirmation girl at all. Yes. I don't care about what you're talking about. What are you doing? What are you showing me?
The proof is in
that
the
is what I want to see. We can say I love yous and all that. We can tell each other, but I need to see that action. Okay, like I don't want to hear about it. Really, to be honest.
Absolutely. No, that was a very good point. No, absolutely. And that love language is, Chip, for those who don't know, there is a book out there The Five Love Languages. Please read it. It's a good read, and it breaks down the different types of love languages and the psychology behind them. And yeah,
that was something I actually had to learn, because he's more words of affirmation. So I had to learn to give that, because I'm one of those people, I may not say it all the time, but I'm gonna show you and you're gonna feel it. You know what I'm saying? Yes. But some people need you to tell them all this. So I even had to learn to speak his language. Yeah.
That's important. Yeah. That is important, because there's a level
men's
of feelings matter. That goes into it.
I have to say that.
Yes, they do.
Men's feelings matter.
And let's normalize validating men's feelings. Yes. Like, let's start normalizing that, because that's something that has been taught for years, for generations, for millennia. And that's something we need to change. Men should be allowed to emote and it be okay. Like, it's okay to be heartbroken. It's okay.
And men need to allow other men to be, yes,
absolutely.
And give them a safe space to feel that way. You know, if they need to.
It's got to be normalized. This has been good. I enjoyed this one. This was a really good.
I did not expect to go deep on this one.
I didn't, but I'm glad you did. Yes, I think we were dropping all the tidbits.
Because it's like, I see it so different now because of everything that I've been through and really just honestly working on myself. Like, I really took the time to get to know myself and understand myself.
And something I did want to say before we get into our For the Culture, earlier we were talking about just some aspects of when we were touching on, like, you know, domestic violence and those abusive type relationships. One thing that I've learned throughout my past relationships and my past experiences is there is a certain level of, in many of the issues that people face in relationships, whether it's abusive or whether it's just toxic, there's a certain level of self-worth that hasn't been brought into the conversation. Like, it almost always boils down to self-worth. And so that's why it's so important to us at the end of every episode that we let you guys know how much we love you, and we look forward to seeing you every week, and how we want you to get to know yourself better. Because when those things come up, you know, when you spend that time doing that personal inventory and you search through those things within yourself and you learn that about yourself, you're able to move forward with new knowledge. Yes. So here we go. Our favorite segment of every episode is the For the Culture business shout out. So who you got for us this week, Dee?
So the business that I have for you guys this week is actually from someone that I've known since elementary school. Yes, like, we're not super like close friends, but we're still on each other's social media and stuff. So and I saw that she started her business, Queen Real Beauty. And she always, first of all, she always turns a look. Like, when I tell you, I used to see before she started her business, like, she would post like her makeup looks and stuff because she does makeup, and always turning a look. Always. Shadows was always on point, blend on, like, always turning the look. So when I saw that she had her own business, I went and checked it out, and I thought it was super dope. So it's Queen Rel Rell Beauty. You can follow her and check her out on Facebook and Instagram at Queen Rell Beauty. And you can also go to her website, queenrellbeauty.com. And it's free shipping, y'all. And it's not too many places that's going to ship for free. Okay, that shipping be added up. Okay, she got free shipping, y'all. And so she has these beautiful, chunky glitter eyeshadows. So pigmented. It's so freaking pretty. And you know, I'm not even a super makeup girl, but when I tell you these shadows are so freaking pretty, like, it stood out to me to make me want to talk about it today. Okay. And she also has these like mink lashes and all of that. So ladies, go check out Queen Rell Beauty. And I believe you can also, if you're in the Milwaukee area, you can also book her to do your makeup. Book her. Because you can book her on the site, or you can hit her up on Facebook or Instagram. Again, Queen Rell Beauty.
Queen Rell Beauty. Well, for this week, I have one of my friends from college. Her name is Brittany Drake. I knew her as Brittany Lindsay, but neither here nor there. And she's got a business, or a couple of businesses actually, based in Nashville, Tennessee. So, quick story. It's so interesting that she got into this business, because this is not at all what she went to school for. And I just found it so interesting when I found out this is what she was doing. And so she's a young mother, and she has B Money Creations. So that's B Money, just the letter B, Money Creations with a K, on Instagram. And she specializes in acrylic art. And these are Afrocentric pieces. Like, she had some nice pieces for Valentine's Day. Beautiful art. There are, there was like one that was like Space Jam, different performers, different, artists, throughout history, and like even just some beautiful geometric pieces. So she has acrylic art on there, but she also has, BZ Creatives LLC. And both of these are on, Instagram. And BZ Creatives LLC is a business venture she has with a partner of hers, where they specialize, again, in Black art, but they specialize in pop-up shops and sip and paint, like events and kits. So they'll like set up a little kit, and I guess the picture, or like the instructions on how to do the painting that they're doing for the session. But they have those little kits for people to do the sip and paint kits. So I thought that was really cool. So if you're in Tennessee, or especially in the Nashville area, check out at B Money Creations and at BZ Creatives LLC on Instagram. A lot of cool things with Black art, acrylics, sip and paint, pop-up shops, a lot of fun there. So yes, that is For the Culture, of course, our Black business spotlight that we do each week. And as always, we've had fun, recording this episode for you guys this week. We love you. We look forward to seeing you every week. And again, our one wish for you is that you get to know yourself better. So we'll see you again next week. This was the 50 Lamb Chronicles.
Peace. I want her to sing, "Oh, McDonald had a farm," facing the wall.